true prophet, at least for a while. But we're not saying this at all. In fact, I already addressed this earlier. If I stand up and say, I'm a true prophet and God will strike me with lightning if I'm lying, and then I get struck by lightning, this doesn't mean I was delivering a true revelation when I said that God would strike me down. It would only mean that God saw what I said and decided to completely, utterly, totally humiliate and expose me. No true revelations required. 5, there's always the tu quoque fallacy. Muslims will say, so what if Muhammad died an agonizing death? Jesus did too, which is strange because I thought that in Islam, Allah rescued Jesus from dying. In reality, of course, Jesus did die an excruciating death on the cross. But notice, Christians have never hid this, unlike Muslims who've spent so many centuries covering up how their prophet died that you can spend your entire life without meeting a Muslim who knows about it. And let's not forget that in Christianity, there's a reason for Jesus' death. It's foundational to Christianity. It was prophesied in the Old Testament. There's a point to it. What's the point of Muhammad dying in total agony in exactly the way Allah said he would die if he fabricated revelations? See the difference? So, there's just no way around this problem. The Quran said that Allah would sever Muhammad's aorta if he fabricated revelations, and Muhammad died saying that he could feel his aorta being severed. In the Muslim sources, we even find Muhammad admitting that he fabricated revelations. After the infamous Satanic Verses incident, where Muhammad told his followers that they could pray to 3 pagan goddesses, Muhammad confessed in the History of At-Tabari, Volume 6, page 111, I have fabricated things against God and have imputed to him words which he has not spoken. How could Muhammad make it any more obvious that he was a false prophet? Think about how simple this is. Allah says in the Quran, and if he had fabricated against us some of the sayings, we would certainly have seized him by the right hand. Then we would certainly have cut off his aorta. Muhammad says in the History of At-Tabari, I have fabricated things against God and have imputed to him words which he has not spoken. Then he says in Sunan Abu Dawud, this is the time when it has cut off my aorta. How could this be any simpler? What I find most interesting in all of this is that when I show Muslims what their sources say, they don't get mad at Muhammad for deceiving them. They don't get mad at their sources for embarrassing them. They don't get mad at their scholars for hiding this information from them. They get mad at me for telling them the truth and showing them what's in their sources. They get mad at me for making a video about what really happened to their prophet. They get mad at me for criticizing the most obvious false prophet in history. But let me be perfectly clear. Nothing I've said about Muhammad in this video or anywhere else comes close to what God said about Muhammad. I'll go a step further. If you take everything that people have ever said or done to insult Muhammad, Salman Rushdie's Satanic Verses, the Danish cartoons, Charlie Hebdo, Islamicize Me, Muhammad's Boom Boom Room, AP's videos, if you take all of our criticisms and mockery of Muhammad and roll it all up into one big ball, it's nothing compared to what God did to Muhammad, according to the Muslim sources. There's no comparison between some guy drawing a picture of Muhammad and God severing his aorta to humiliate and degrade and expose him. God is the ultimate critic of Muhammad. So, what are you going to do, my Muslim friends? Are you going to run around calling God an Islamophobic bigot because he insulted your fake prophet? Or are you going to accept correction from the Almighty? Islam means submission. You Muslims think it refers to submission to God. But God has already given his answer. He commands you to reject Muhammad. If you continue believing in Muhammad, what you're really saying is, even God can't make me stop believing in Muhammad, because we don't care what God says. We only care about Muhammad. But in that case, Islam isn't submission to God. It's submission to Muhammad. And if you care more about submitting to Muhammad than you care about submitting to God, you guys are living in Shirk Central. You guys are living in Shirk Central to Muhammad. And if you care more about submitting to Muhammad than you care about submitting to God, you guys are living in Shirk Central.
It just backfired on me. It just backfired on me. This is a part of a religion. There's a reason to it. Yeah?